There's a huge difference between playing notes versus playing music. And what do I exactly mean by this? I will play a small excerpt for you. Now, what I just played for you were all the correct notes, but it was rather boring to listen to, right? There was like nothing going on, but I did get all the notes, but it was boring. Kind of like having a conversation with another person. If I were to speak in monotone from beginning to end, it would be easy for the listener to become bored with what the message is supposed to be. Likewise in playing, if you don't make any inflections in your phrasing, then it starts to sound dull. For myself, I believe that there are 7 elements to what make music musical. What are they? Vibrato, dynamics, tone, tempo, articulation, breathing, and pitch. Let's add breathing into the equation. If you notice, I played the entire phrase in one breath, and the reason why I wanted to do that was to show you that the breath in which you take can be important as far as where the phrase goes. Kind of like if someone were to talk to you and they just kept going and going and going, at some point it starts to sound like a run-on sentence and there's no direction. So let's add in breathing. What about dynamics? So as you can see, there aren't any dynamics written on the page, but that doesn't mean that we can't make dynamic inflections in our playing. Let me show you. So as you could hear, I did little crescendos and decrescendos amongst my notes. I kind of varied it up a little bit just so that it had a little bit more life. Let's add another element. How about vibrato? Okay, now what about tone colors? Let's change our sounds. Let's make some notes sound a little bit darker, some notes sound a little bit brighter. So as you can see, the music is starting to sound more and more alive just because I'm adding elements of musical phrasing. But let's continue adding more. What about tempo? What if we slow down slightly at the end? That might give a nice little resolution. Articulation is a little bit of a trickier one because this is already a lyrical tune, but let's say if I were to articulate rather harshly. It wouldn't sound as right? So because of the nature of this piece, you more than likely will naturally articulate lighter, but let's vary the articulation anyways. What if we gave a medium tonguing in the beginning, soft tonguing in the middle, and then when we go to the peak of the phrase, we would tongue just a little bit harder and then go back to being softer with the tonguing. Now the last concept is pitch, and this one's a very tricky one because sometimes it's okay to be a little bit sharp if it means that you're leaning into the peak of the phrase, and sometimes that sharpness allows for the phrase to move forward a little bit. Also, in jazz playing, sometimes it's okay to scoop into your notes. Start a little bit flat and then lean into it for a nice little effect. So in the peak of our phrase here, I'm going to lean into the F because that's the peak of the melody, and I'm going to raise the pitch just ever so slightly to give it a little bit of brightness to it. So I'm not sure if you could tell, but on my D, F, B, da, 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 dum, I slightly raised the pitch for them in order to build this kind of momentum in the music, and it doesn't entirely sound all that wrong, at least not to my ears. Now for the final product, I will go ahead and play this along with piano accompaniment so we can hear how everything gets put together. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video has helped you build a better understanding on how to be a much more musical player.